I think it's inevitable for most things to change over time. Like the machines, the evolution of a machine. Next generation has a better idea of how to do something. We are the last type of business, I think, that will be allowed to open just because it is so hands-on. I just feel like I'm on thin ice all the time. No income. If that means have an auction, I've already talked to an auction house. They could have one weekend and a check for me Monday morning. So at least there's a way out when push comes to shove. I'm like the mechanic and the janitor that keeps it working behind the scenes. We're trying to show the evolution of the coin-operated entertainment industry from the machines that we have that date back to about 1880 through the present. During normal working conditions, we're open every day of the year, 365 days. It can get very crowded. It gets to the point where I can't roller skate. For one quarter, you can get 5, 6 people to watch one machine go. Well, a lot of them were new when we bought them, but they're old now. This is an extension of what Playland used to be. How much fun can you cram into one day? That's how Playland was. You could just walk in and meander all around, and if something caught your eye, like one of these machines, or the roller coaster at Playland, or the potato sacks going down the slides, you could just participate. Those days are gone.
I think that we're just seeing a culture shift that a lot of long-standing businesses, legacy businesses, aren't able to endure. The pandemic, I think, accelerated loss that was already happening in San Francisco. A lot of historians like to make a distinction between nostalgia and history, and I think that's such a disservice to history. Nostalgia, it's a word that's evolved from the phrase nostos algos. That was like the medical term for this condition of longing for the past.
I grew up with this collection. My dad was collecting machines long before I was born.
Edward Gallon Zelinsky, collector, restorer, and preserver of fascinating automata.
I'd like to welcome you to the Musée Mécanique. This is a Wurlitzer orchestrion, and it came out around 1912, and it's one of my favorite musical instruments.
This is a 1912 Wurlitzer orchestrion. Aha. If I knew what we were getting into before we started the Wurlitzer, I would have done it anyway, but it was a much bigger task than I ever saw coming. I'm hell-bent on keeping it going. There's very little of yesterday that's still intact today.
It's just a difficult machine to work on. It's so strange. The technology that they were using was primitive to say the least, and it wasn't a very good design. But what are your plans? I started working for his father. Dan's dad would bring in projects from the arcade, and then as time passed, of course, then Dan started coming in. Dan has been a good and dear friend for all of those 40 years that I've known him. One of the most thoughtful and kindest people I've ever known. This is Dan's life and has been forever. And for that to all be swept away?
I'm surviving a pandemic, but not without all the help that I'm getting. GoFundMe is why we are here. I know people that love this place to a fault.
Anybody that goes in there is tickled pink.
It's like a little peek into a different time.
I love the old music played on the mechanical instruments.
Laughing Sal. Oh, I got such a kick out of that when I was a kid.
My mom would take the grandkids.
I have a son now, and I'm excited to one day take him.
This is one of the few things in the city that is exactly the way it used to be. I mean, these machines are these machines. There's a lot of reasons to wonder about the future. I've talked to people that might want to be able to pick up where I left off. Yeah, I won't be here in 50 years, that's for sure.